And we are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Just kind of reflect on what we talked about real quick. We talked about our WWE SmackDown preview. We also talked about our WWE NXT Heatwave predictions and analysis. But next, we're going to jump on into our, of course, why exactly is this Money in the Bank kind of one of the most important PLEs? Obviously, you did have WrestleMania 40, the first PLE, the first WrestleMania under Triple H's creative order, so to speak. But this is big. This is going to be really big. This are basically these two people. I feel like Triple H is going to kind of take this as like as these guys are going to be the next people to kind of take kind of drive into a different directions, take the era away from Vince McMahon completely. After this PLE, I feel like people aren't going to mention Vince McMahon's name anymore. But yeah, honestly, let's dig on into it. So WWE has been officially being taken over, being deemed the Paul Levesque era. Triple H needs to have they need to have the men's money in the bank winner. This the cash-ins. Just we're gonna first talk about the cash-ins. The cash-ins in the past have been pretty good. Pretty good. Can't dispute that. But I feel like if you're Paul Levesque, you kind of want to base these briefcases around two superstars that whenever they cash in, it's going to be big. It's going to be bigger than big. These two superstars have a whole lot of responsibility to uphold the company, the Paul Levesque name. They're kind of representing the era in terms of Money in the Bank. So a lot of pressure. Yeah, that's true. But I feel like right now on SmackDown and on Raw, for both the men's and women's division, I feel like you have guys who can do it. Definitely 110%. So I feel like Triple H has something to prove. I feel like, in my opinion, I don't feel like he really has anything to prove. I feel like that WrestleMania 40 was like really, really good. It was good enough. But obviously striving toward more, always thinking that you can do better is good in terms of business and stuff like that. So Paul Levesque, this the Money in the Bank winner needs to be someone that I feel like you kind of need to build the future around. And when I say the future, I don't mean like the future, but just the whole year. You need to have the whole year of this guy constantly having their Money in the Bank briefcase, and they're like, oh, if he cashes in, he's gonna win. This guy's gonna win. Something that you kind of saw that didn't happen with Damian Sandow. Kind of like what you saw what happened with Austin Theory. Kind of like what you saw what happened with even though he did successfully cash in the Money in the Bank, it was Dolph Ziggler, where you're like, dude, Dolph Ziggler is never gonna cash in. Like it was that doubt. It was that doubt that made that Money in the Bank cash in so damn good. It made it so amazing. So Paul Levesque has a whole bunch of pressure tonight. Well, on Saturday, tomorrow. Damn, crazy. Of making this pay per view or this Money in the Bank winner, probably one of the most prestigious Money in the Bank winners in the world. And even Cody Rhodes, you have Cody Rhodes, the WWE champion, who finished his story at WrestleMania 40, even deemed and labeling this Paul Levesque era kind of like the Renaissance era. And like when you think about Renaissance, you think about the Renaissance, in the world where you kind of had new technologies coming up, you had new ways of living that made it easier, better, more healthier. And I feel like that's kind of how you have the WWE right now. That's something that Triple H wants to establish. Once again, I feel like still watching WWE, there's still that McMahon kind of presence. And I don't know how to explain it, but I feel like Paul Levesque really, I feel like this whole year is crucial in establishing himself as the true CEO, as the true COO, basically leading the company into the future. And WWE fans, I know, have a lot of faith in Paul Levesque. I know I do. But he's still linked to Vince McMahon. He's still his daughter, that's his father in law. You never talk bad about your father. Never, 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 never. Also, you have Bruce Pritchard. Bruce Pritchard as well has been kind of involved with Vince McMahon for the longest time. But I don't know, it's kind of crazy. I feel like this is a complete decode. This is a complete decode that WWE is kind of going for, how WWE is going to be ran internally and externally from here on out, with TKO kind of getting involved, along with The Rock. It's different. It's different. You kind of have this different feel to it. And much like I was talking about Bruce Pritchard, although he's still in WWE, even Cody Rhodes said one of the reasons why he came back was because of Bruce, which, good for Bruce. That's cool. But, Bruce Pritchard and Vince McMahon are still, very much one, very much one. Former WWE Women's Champion Ronda Rousey claims after her departure from WWE, if Bruce Pritchard is still somewhat kind of around WWE creative, just know Vince McMahon is still kind of pulling the strings, and that could very much be it. Like WWE kind of did this in the past, where they kind of gave control to Shane. Didn't really work out. Went back to Vince. They gave it to Triple H. Vince McMahon couldn't be kind of stepped aside, and he came back in. And people were like, "No, no, why are you back? Like nobody wants you back, Vince. What are you doing, dude?" But I don't know. It's just crazy. It's just crazy. Definitely don't want a WWE that kind of goes more toward of a predictable kind of content, kind of like what you saw with the McMahon era. But this is just something that wrestling fans want to see. This is how important this Money in the Bank is, because this is going to go on Triple H's resume. People are still highly crucial. People are still highly, very critiquing the way Triple H is running WWE, and that's got to cause a lot of turmoil. That's going to cause a lot of turmoil, probably at the kitchen table, maybe at Thanksgiving, where you're kind of looking across. You have Vince McMahon be like, "Hey, Hunter, let me, give you some ideas I have about what could happen on SmackDown." And Triple H is like, "Yeah, sure, go to shit them on by." And then they don't happen. And then Vince is like, "Those were golden ideas." Where it's like, dude, like, just sit down and enjoy your turkey, bro. I'm just kidding. No, but it's crazy. It's not a real, it's not the best situation to kind of be in. It's kind of hard. The son-in-law, the father, the daughter. Oh God, it's just it's hard. It's hard. So I don't know. So who is driving the new paradigm shift in WWE's new product is a question that I'm constantly trying to ask myself. Right now, I feel like Triple H. I feel like Triple H is in, but then you also have Bruce Pritchard linked to Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon also linked to Triple H, linked to both these guys. So there's the no. This is the first WWE without a McMahon. That's crazy. That's something that's unfathomable, unheard of. And Triple H is trying to do his best. And you kind of have to keep business away from pleasure, family away from business. That's why sometimes when you, most of the time, I would say 75% of the time, when you go to a business, when you get a new job, and then you're working with, the boss is the dad, the mom, what have you, the grandmother, whatever. And then they hire their niece, their nephew, their son, and it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable because you're like, you want to say something, you might be in a higher superior, you might want to say something, but you can't because you're like, oh shit, shoot, then I'm going to get fired, and it's just not all good. It's just not all good whatsoever. But there's just no easy way. Obviously, nepotism is kind of unavoidable. Kind of like what you saw with the Los Angeles Lakers drafting Bronny James. And then JJ Redick said in a press conference that, oh, Bronny deserved this, this and that and the other. Dude, no, he didn't, dude. Like, don't be like, don't beat around the bush, bro. I feel like, I don't know. It was all because of his dad. Simply because it was, he averaged like 8 points a game. Kind of crazy, but, Bronny James is being drafted to one of the best NBA franchises in the whole entire world because of his dad. That's, that just that headline. Just imagine that in the headline, and you're like, damn, what the hell happened to the NBA? All in all, the point is nepotism is kind of unavoidable in terms of sports and stuff like that. Things around the WWE has been more relaxed. A lot of coworkers, according to sources, have been saying a lot of wrestlers, a lot of creativity, officiating, superstars in the back, character development, storylines. They've been more relaxed thanks to Triple H kind of being there. And just like that freedom to be like, dude, say and do on live TV, just something that kind of feels natural to you, not constantly kind of having somebody lingering over your shoulder, just, when micromanaging, be like, being a helicopter parent, you're like, oh no, don't do that. Like, what do you like? It gets tired. You're like, dude, what the hell? You hired me for a reason. You hired me for a reason to do what I have to do. How unique am I to your business if you don't allow me to present myself, to present my ideas, and kind of build this culture that is, because nobody wants to see the same product. It's like watching a robot. It's like watching the same show being spewed out over and over again. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, oh, we've had a lot of success in the past that way. That's the way we do it around here. Yeah, but dude, like, there's no innovative ideas. You're just gonna let the thing run over and over again. You're gonna let it get boring like that. That's something that entertainment cannot have. That's something that WWE cannot have. So this Money in the Bank is probably one of the biggest pay-per-views that a lot of people are kind of like. I feel like people do kind of see the severity of it. I'm not saying that they don't, but I just feel like this WWE is getting pretty crazy. Obviously, you have a lot of blood and some bad language kind of into it. You have stars more active on the WWE platform, and once again, that just helps in terms of pop culture, helping entertainment stars being brandished, kind of like on your podcast, kind of like on your shows and stuff like that. Nick Khan was a former agent. Obviously, you can tell that he had a Rolodex of people that he probably called. He was like, "Hey, why don't you make an appearance on WWE? That would be so totally badass." And they're like, "You know what? Let's do it." So, yeah, that was my spiel on why this Money in the Bank is probably one of the most important PLEs toward the future. So, yeah. All right, guys. God, glad you guys are sticking with me. Hope you guys had an amazing 4th of July. Do not go anywhere. We're going to talk about Money in the Bank. We're going to talk about Here Comes the Money. Here we go. Money Talks.